Good evening, dear friends. So, it's Friday, which means your TV, radio, YouTube receivers have finally caught the right wave, and we continue our exciting tour, journey, so to speak, into the world of the late night caller. We'll delve into it a little deeper today. So, our late night caller consists of vertebrae, as we all know very well, and each of these vertebrae moves in a certain way. If one vertebra, for example, stops moving, it immediately affects mobility. The neighboring vertebrae will start moving more, trying to compensate for the lack of this movement. So, the neck up to the mobility of the neck. Here are the muscles we take care of. We remove it like this so that you could see the vertebrae. We have joints here between the vertebrae, and when we want to turn the head with you, you see the vertebrae start to move. The vertebrae in the neck still have to make a movement. The vertebrae here in the chest department make a small movement. If, for example, we turn with you, all the vertebrae participate in the movement. If we fix some vertebra and do not let it move, then we still want to turn the head with you to the usual amplitude for us. We will want to go there where we are used to, but this vertebra does not move, and therefore, the upper vertebrae relative to it will be forced to make more volume, and gradually excessive mobility of the joints begins to develop. One joint is fixed, the others will be forced to move more, and this excessive joint mobility will lead to arthritis. Ligaments between the vertebrae will begin to stretch. Nerves here between the vertebrae that come out. The vertebral artery can be irritated. That is, when there is no movement, there is a problem. And when the movements are excessive, there is also a problem. Instability, the joint changes, wears out faster. And where there is no mobility, there is also a problem. The joint nutrition is also disrupted. And each vertebra takes a certain part in the movement. And today, we will teach you a special exercise to maintain the mobility of the neck. Today, we will do exercises with you, not as we used to do. Exercises for some muscles. Today, we will do exercises specifically for the mobility of the vertebrae and learn to move with you each cervical vertebra. We usually have 7 of them with you, mainly. And we will try to move each of the 7 with you today. We will be moving with you in different planes. We will be making forward movements. We will be making backward movements. And to the side, right, left. Here, to start with, feel the stubble with your fingers. The stubble is located right here, but this is the only thing you can touch from the spine at the back. This is such a bone. If your muscles are well developed, you will have to press a little. If so, then you will immediately fall on them. It is located in the center. Regardless, he can be, you see, slightly crooked to one side, to the other side. This doesn't mean that your vertebrae are somehow incorrectly positioned. It's just your task to feel, well, approximately. You might not be able to feel every single vertebra straight away, right? But keep in mind that its approximate thickness is that of your index or middle finger, well, the thickness of one phalanx. And in this exercise, we will need to place a finger on each phalanx and move down, down, down. So let's start. So we've set it. First, we'll put our finger right here, right under the occiput, where we have the first cervical vertebra, and there is no bony process there. That is right where your occiput ends, right into this depression. Once we put our finger here, and this is where you'll hit the first vertebra. And now your finger is in this place. And your task is to lean forward, make a forward movement. That is, you have your finger here, and you make a forward movement. and try to do it in such a way that the movement is exactly in this place. First, try to hold this vertebra and make a head movement so that your head moves and this one stays in place. Try to make this movement. Put your finger and make a forward movement. You tilt then lower. Lower already to the next, to the second vertebra. And the same thing. First, try to make a movement above this vertebra and then by themselves, then even lower. And so go through each vertebra. Your task is to learn to move with each vertebra. Now, put your finger on the protruding process and make a movement. You will not have such that exactly this vertebra moves, but it will turn out that there will be different amplitude of movements when you lower your fingers down. You will get that each time slightly differently, you will tilt. And in the movement, different muscles will participate all the time, and the load on the joints will also be different. It will still be one a little more, the other a little less. The vertebrae move. We made this movement with you forward. Now similar, but backwards. That is, your task is now to the other side, to tilt your head back here. The same thing, we put either two fingers or one on the vertebra and try to make the movement back specifically because of it. Then the next thing, that is, above, the next one and so on. But approximately, you will go through such places where the movement is slightly worse. Such where the movement is slightly better. Where it's worse, you linger longer. So you try to move each vertebra, but make 3 or 4 movements where the movement is worse or there is pain. Then reduce the amplitude a bit. The next movement is the same. We put the finger and make a tilt. And also, with each vertebra, we make a movement. Where it moves worse, we stop longer. The first time, you put your fingers on each vertebra and make this movement. Then, after a week, for example, you can do the same without hands. That is, you have learned, remembered the movement. And with each vertebra, learn to move without hands so that they do not interfere. The same forward, you did it, that is, you moved each vertebra. The same to the side to one side. You also made a movement to the other side. There might be a crunch, but the main thing is that it was painless. And you can go through several times from the top to the bottom vertebrae, and then again. This is very good for restoring the work of the joints between the vertebrae. That is, even if you make this movement once or twice, you immediately feel how the blood supply improves, the inflow, the outflow of blood. That is, this exercise is specifically for the mobility of the vertebra. Today we taught it to you for the cervical section of the spine. Well, if you liked it, if you did, write in the comments. For other sections of the spine, for other joints, should I also show such? Are you interested or not? Of course, it's interesting. Write how, what to write. Write something like that, so that I can post the rest as quickly as possible. Well, write what you want to see as soon as possible. Then I will too. Bye.